An all-new episode of Romanization Romance starts now.
맥큐 씨, 이건 안 될 것 같아요. 난 널 위해 뭐든지 다 할 수 있어. He's never gonna get the girl if he keeps using that romanization system. 가지 마세요. Romanization doesn't accurately represent Korean sounds, it negatively affects your pronunciation, and it can hurt your progress. First of all, Romanization is when you write Korean words using the English alphabet. For example, you could write the word Hangeul, meaning the Korean alphabet, like this. Now, here's a problem. This letter is called 릴, and if you've studied Korean before, you might have heard that it sounds like an L or that it sounds like an R. Well, which is it? An L or an R? It's neither. It's Korean, not English. You see, almost none of the Korean alphabet can be written accurately with English. And you're really just hurting yourself and your pronunciation if you're focusing on Romanization. Hey, that rhymes. Let's talk about why. 그럼 시작할까요? When you're first learning how to ride a bike as a kid, you need training wheels to avoid getting hurt. But Romanization isn't like training wheels. It's more like a crutch. Now, before I bash Romanization too hard, let's talk about how it's useful. If you're just learning a few phrases and aren't trying to study Korean, then you do not need to learn the alphabet. You want to know how to say hello in Korean? Sure, let's first learn the entire Korean alphabet. Or if you're a linguist, Romanization is probably enough to get a feel for how the Korean language works. And let's face it, most tourists to Korea aren't going to learn the alphabet just so they can travel around and eat delicious Korean food like galbi, sundae, 감자탕. Oh, where was I? Travelers just need to know how to get around, and without Romanization on street signs and in subways, a lot more people would get lost. So it can definitely be helpful, but when used to learn Korean, it can also be harmful. Now, when I say Romanization, there are actually several different Romanization systems. There's Revised, McCune-Reischauer, IPA, Yale, and several others. And each system has its own set of rules, as well as its own pros and cons. The Revised system is the most common one that you'll find because it's easy to write, and you'll encounter it on Korean signs and in some language textbooks. But the main problem with all Romanization systems is that you're essentially using the sounds of one language to represent the sounds in another unrelated language. It's kind of like trying to explain the Shawshank Redemption by comparing it to Magic Mike. You see, it's like the Shawshank Redemption, but nobody's wearing a shirt. Learning vocabulary through Romanization means that you won't learn the correct pronunciation because you're learning the word in English and not in Korean. And that's not only going to hurt your progress, but also your motivation to keep learning. My recommendation is to avoid Romanization as soon as you've learned the basic sound of each Korean letter, even if your pronunciation is still bad. So instead of learning the word for today like this, just learn it like this. Romanization simply is not trustworthy. The exact same word can be written a dozen ways depending on the system. For example, the word Hangul. Here are just some of the ways you could write it. Now, if you don't already know how this word sounds in Korean, how would you know whether to pronounce this as Hangeul, Hangul, or even Hangeul? And before you say it,
but wait, Billy, there are rules for reading that system.
It's going to take you longer to memorize the rules of that system than it would to just learn the alphabet. In fact, I made a video you can use to learn the alphabet in under 90 minutes, and I'll link it in the description. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is because beginning learners are impressionable. When I was a beginner, I just believed everything I was told about Korean without question.
You have to be Korean to understand politeness levels.
Okay.
Korean is the most complicated language in the world. Even Koreans can't speak it.
Whoa.
2 + 2 is 7?
Cool, I never knew that.
You owe me $50?
Okay. So I hope that through watching this video, you'll take a moment to think about your own goals and decide whether learning the alphabet is right or not for you. Thanks for watching, and I also want to say thanks to my Patreon supporters. And remember that new videos are uploaded here every week, so if you like what you see, click subscribe. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.